Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about the benefits of having a digital private practice. First of all, I just want to explain what I mean by a digital private practice. Whether you see your patients or clients face-to-face or online or a mixture of the two, by having your practice online, I'm talking about your administration, your systems, your processes and procedures, things like that. So that could be having an professional email address, it could be having a appointment system that's online, it could be having an e-signature platform to send your paperwork. Before I get into the benefits, first of all, I just want to say hi, my name's Kim. I work with therapists in private practice, helping them get online, get confident with admin and reduce their tech overwhelm. So let's jump into the benefits of a digital private practice. So the first benefit is having streamlined processes. And what do I mean by that? So basically, for everything you do in your practice, there should be a process for that. And by making it streamlined, we're taking a look at your current process and if you can cut anything out or automate something instead of doing it all manually. The benefits of this is taking the guesswork out of everything you do. So for example, when you're onboarding a new client, you're going to have the same streamlined process for every client that comes on board into your practice. You're going to send them the paperwork in the same way. You're going to store the information in the same way. And then it saves you time and money in the long run because you always know exactly what you're going to be doing. A system that I'd like to talk to you about with regards to this is using an e-signature platform like Signable. Signable is a pay-as-you-go system, which is great for therapists in private practice. I'm going to be talking about it more in a future video, but just for the purpose of this video, what I want to explain is when you use an e-signature platform, you have a process already in place. So you set up the template. Once the template's set up, you can then email that template again and again and again and again and again. You only have to set up the template once and then you can have the same process to send to each client. They will then sign it, you can even countersign it, and then the paperwork gets sent to both you and the client automatically. So sending out paperwork is no longer a chore. You don't need to explain to clients that they need to print it off and they need to sign it and scan it back to you. So not only is it taking out work for you, it's also taking out work for the client. As a follow-up, list all of the tasks you do in private practice. That could be invoicing, onboarding clients, when you do rescheduling with clients and booking them in. List everything out and see if there's a way that you could automate any of that with a system. If you don't actually know what systems can do, look out for my video next week where I'm going to be talking about what systems you should use when you're starting in a private practice. Once you've streamlined your processes, the next benefit is having clear procedures. Having a streamlined process is great, but then the next step of that is having a clear procedure for everything that could happen in your practice. So for example, if a client cancels an appointment, you know exactly what you're going to be doing with that. You know that you have a 48-hour cancellation policy, for example, and you know that you're going to send them an email to confirm your cancellation policy. You can set up email templates, for example, that already have all this information in there to save you having to write it out each time. This can have huge benefits for both you and the client. First of all, for you as the therapist, if you set up these templates in advance, you'll never need to scramble around thinking about what you need to say. You'll also know that you're giving your clients the same response every time, so they never know whether they're going to be charged one day and the next day not charged. You can also set these procedures up in advance. So thinking about what could happen in your practice means that you don't need to worry about answering the client there and then in the moment when they need to cancel. You've already thought about your cancellation policy and you know exactly what you're going to be saying to that client when they ask to cancel. For your clients, it gives them confidence that you know what you're doing and that they know what their outcome's going to be. For example, if they need to pay for an appointment, they know they're going to get an invoice, they know when they're going to get it, they know how to transfer the money or pay, and so it takes out all of the worry and anxiety for them with paying for the appointment. The same goes for when they book an appointment. They know if they're going to receive a booking confirmation, how they're going to get their Zoom link or the address where they need to go. And so they won't be chasing you for this information because they're going to know when they're going to be sent that. Thinking about all your procedures can also help you with your private practice paperwork. You can think about your fees, how you're going to send appointment links, how people will pay, your cancellation policy. All the things that come up in private practice can go into your paperwork. So having the procedure written out and understanding what your own policies and procedures are can help inform your clients in the paperwork. The third benefit is having safe and secure personal data. We all know about GDPR laws in the UK and storing client information. In the past, what you might have done is sent out paperwork via email in a Word document or a PDF. You would then ask the client to print that off. They would print it, fill it out, sign it, scan it back to you. And then what would you do with that paperwork? Would you print it off and store it somewhere in your office, or would you just keep it on an email and not know where to find it? Having a cloud-based system can be really helpful for this. So first of all, you're sending your paperwork via an e-signature platform like Signable. So the paperwork is already going to be stored in the Signable platform. It's then automatically going to be emailed to you. When you have that document, you then would save it on the cloud-based system in a client file, for example, and then you always know where all of the data is stored. If you ever need to refer back to it, you will know exactly where to go to get it, rather than scrabbling around looking for it in your office. The next benefit is that you look more professional. First of all, private practice is a business, and that is how you should think of it. A client will start working with you because of your skills, your personality, and whether you click, but they're going to stay with you if it's easy to work with you. So how are you going to make it easy to work with you? Well, you're going to have a proper onboarding procedure so that you can let the client know what to expect when working with you. You're going to make it easy for them to complete their paperwork so they actually complete it. And you're going to make it easy for them to pay and book appointments. One example of this is having a professional email address. So rather than simmonscounselling@gmail.com, you would have kim@simmonscounselling.com. And this is much easier than you may think. You don't actually have to have a website to have a professional business email. All you need to do is buy a domain, and then you can set up an email address without a website. And that can just cost a few pounds. I recommend using somebody like GoDaddy so that you can purchase the domain, and then you'll be able to set up the email address. That email address can be used with a system like Gmail or Outlook or any other platform that you might want to use. Having a professional email address shows you're in business, you're not going anywhere, and that you're professional. The fifth benefit of having a digital private practice is easier payments. There are loads of ways to invoice in private practice, and I have a free download which I will link in the description below. However you want to invoice though, I would always suggest actually sending an invoice. With my clients, it's been shown that they are more likely to be paid on time when they're actually sent an invoice. And this invoice will have all the relevant information so that it's easy for your client to pay. This can still be a manual invoice which you can create in Word or Google Docs or even Excel, but it would have the information so it's easy for the client to pay. It will have an invoice number and all of your BACS information so they can pay, and it also is a way for you to track your payments so that you're never chasing somebody for an invoice that's already been paid or missing one that hasn't been paid altogether. If you'd like a semi-automated invoicing process, you can use a system like Stripe or PayPal. Just note that there will be some fees involved, but it can speed up your invoicing process. It can also make it easier for clients to pay. Another platform I recommend is Starling. If you use them to bank, you can upgrade and get the business toolkit, which is currently around £7 a month, and then you can invoice for free with no fees, and when the client has paid, it will automatically update the invoice to say it's been paid, which can be really handy. And the final benefit of having a digital private practice is that it's easier to hand over. When the time comes that you need to hire help and get a virtual assistant, for example, it's much easier to hand it over if you have clear procedures and streamlined systems and platforms that can easily be handed over to a VA. If you're using a cloud-based system, you would just need to give the VA access to that, and then they'll have access to everything, and you won't need to worry about sending confidential information on your clients via email constantly. It will also make training much easier and cheaper because you can just hand them over the processes that are already written, and it can reduce errors in the beginning as well, as people will know exactly what they need to do. Okay, so they were the 6 benefits of having a digital private practice: streamlined processes, clear procedures, safe and secure personal data, more professional, easier payment, and easier to hand over. If you're ready to get online and don't know where to start, you can always contact us. The link is in the description below, and we can do online setups for you for Google Workspace or even an EHR system if you're ready for that. If you're ready to do this yourself though, next week there'll be a video about the systems that I recommend for private practice that you should start with. So check that out. Thanks so much for watching.